I'm Ashley Longvault, and I'm here today to talk to you about water pollution. Close your eyes and think of the most beautiful beaches, lakes, and rivers you've ever seen or hope to see. I'm sure you can imagine the clarity of the water, how blue and how nearly flawless it all is. Now, reimagine that scene full of mud, tons of garbage, plastic bottles, and with no greenery and no wildlife. And because of all this garbage, it's caused a pungent smell that makes you queasy and burns your eyes and nose. This imagination was very gross and sad, but what makes this vision a nightmare is that it's the reality for many areas all over the world. For the last decade, there's been an emphasis on pollution on land and trying to cut down on our carbon footprint. But pollution in our oceans, rivers, and lakes and other bodies of waters has severely increased. This is impacting us every day in many facets of our lives. The main points of my speech is that pollution in our waterways are killing and harming our wildlife, is unhealthy for the human race, and is important to preserve Earth for future generations. The problem I'm addressing today is just water pollution, also known as marine pollution. It's since the beginning of the 21st century, it has increasingly become worse, and it's beginning to take its toll on the regions throughout the world. One of the questions that I asked in my questionnaire was, what country did you believe had the largest amount of pollution? Many of you answered Africa, which is sensible, but it's actually Asia. In the slums of India, the water pollution is so bad that majority of the population has experienced cholera, diarrhea, and typhoid. The contaminated water carries so many pollutants and germs that it makes us severely ill. But because most countries that experience such severe water pollution are least industrializing countries, also known as third world countries, have huge populations, the people that live in poverty have no choice but to live and drink water in such conditions. Impoverished areas such as the slums in countries of China, India, and Africa, diseases that rarely occur in the United States, is seen almost on the daily in these areas. These least industrialized countries rely on fishing and agricultural for survival. So with the water so severely polluted, people are struggling to survive because the animals are dying and they're not healthy. Also, as these countries are trying to progress and build factories and try to use fertilizers to produce more crops, chemicals are being absorbed into the ground, and it's affecting the groundwater. And a lot of these countries, there's little to no chemical use regulation, which is not here in the U.S. We have the EPA, also known as the Environmental Protection Agency, but we still do have runoff here in groundwater problems. The problem of water pollution is so unnerving because it can occur so many different ways and have so many adverse effects on both humans and animals. One of the questions that I asked you in the questionnaire, another question actually I asked, was how many trillions of tons of sewage is generated in the U.S. annually and dumped, and about 1.2 trillion tons is dumped every year. This dump is beginning to be noticed more and more, and it's taking a big toll on the Great Lakes up north. According to the Environmental magazine, the Great Lakes have been tested in certain high-populated harbors or places where they're building manufacturing plants, and traces of pollutants, including mercury, PCBs, and other agricultural runoffs have been found. Also, another event that's happening fairly recently is that the Environmental Protection Agency has identified 582 highly toxic carcinogens or chemicals which are produced, manufactured, and stored in locations across the U.S. in our drinking water. This shows that the problem not only in other countries, but it hits home, and we can be drinking acidic, radioactive, horrible, cancerous water, and it's in our groundwater. This problem is just bigger than just some countries. It hits home for us, so we need to be more cautious of what we're doing. But nonetheless, the problems are very bad in foreign countries. The problem has become so large in other countries, such as India, that only 73% of their population has consumable drinking water. According to the New York Times, also, China is now experiencing a breach in clean water due to the runoff and dumping of acidic and mining waste into the Yellow River. The Yellow River is a huge river in China, but it's a main source of water for over 150 million people. And to put that into perspective, if you took half of the U.S.'s population, that's about 150 million people that are being affected by this runoff, this radioactive water. So many people are at risk because of water pollution. The problem of pollution is directly related to us because, excuse me, is directly related to us because it's in our food cycle. We eat the fish, we drink the water goes into our crops, other animals that we consume drink the water, eat the vegetables. That is, water that survive off the water that's contaminated. It's in our system. Also, another problem is just our drinking water in general. If we drink contaminated water, we'll risk contraction of typhoid, cholera, and other diseases, and just drinking this cancerous water. The solution is not easy. It's not just let's recycle more, let's clean our pond out. No, the solution is education about pollution, and it's learning why the chemicals hurt us, how they harm us, how we can prevent being or absorbing these chemicals. Also, getting involved in organizations such as the Clean Water Action or your local Florida Fish and Wildlife or any other organizations that you know. Or also, you can also get involved with donating to things by buying Guy Harvey shirts. I'm actually wearing my Guy Harvey shirt. If you buy Guy Harvey products, it actually goes to ocean cleanups and other projects like that. So I thought that was really cool of Guy Harvey to be doing that. If we can educate people all over the world the dangers of pollution and how to decontaminate waterways, the amount of pollution would surely decline. Many people in impoverished areas don't even realize what the pollution's really doing to them, and they just deal with the conditions because that's really all they have. That's their life. So if we can educate them, we can show them how to clean up, I think that the problem would severely decrease. We can't clean all the waterways in the world, but by taking care of our local water, we're being very proactive. We're setting good examples and helping the best way we can. By helping a lot of different ways, that's going to expand. If the Clean Water Action of Florida or Florida Fish and Wildlife obtain more volunteers, this could severely help the problem, and our waterways in Florida would be much cleaner. And Clean Water Action is a national movement, so all the U.S. citizens could really become involved in this and really impact the country. And if these organizations cease to exist and people did not volunteer, the U.S. could be in great danger of becoming what India and China and Africa is, and we just do not want that. We need to stop the problem before it becomes too much out of control. And all I want you guys to do is just to become more responsible and educated with these pollutions, and just being more responsible with what you dispose of and how you do it, and just join the organization, buy a Guy Harvey shirt, do your part. It's not very big, but just do a little. And even though we might not see this water pollution, it affects us every day. Between our food sources and consumable water, we are severely impacted by water pollution. By helping decrease the pollution, we are enabling more consumable water for human and animal population. It is our duty to save the earth. So let's try, you guys. Thank you.